House of the Dragon just finished and it was a great show. There's definitely going to be a lot of people who won't be happy with the pacing, which is fair, as it was definitely a slow season, though I believe there was enough at the end of every episode to keep me hooked. And even if it's a bit too slow, all 10 episodes are already out, so you can just watch them back to back. Sometimes these types of shows are just a lot better when you can kind of just binge it. It's also great to see a show with a female protagonist, especially one that's actually written well. If you've paid attention to the shows that have been coming out lately, you'd think that there's been some kind of agenda against any show that uses a female protagonist because of how shit everything's been. But House of the Dragon did not fall into that category. And hell, the duotagonist was also a woman, which really got nothing to do with gender though. This show's just written really well. Gender doesn't make a character good or bad, obviously, it literally doesn't matter at all. But I thought I'd point it out, because yeah, there's been a lot of shit lately. Rhaenyra Targaryen is the main character of the series. She is the daughter of King Viserys and his oldest child. When Princess Rhaenyra is named heir to the throne, there is a slight uproar. It's unprecedented for a woman to be named heir, as in this world, only a man should be ruling the kingdom. Viserys doesn't have a son though, which is why they named Rhaenyra heir instead. The course of the show sticks to the principle of people following their duties. The characters age quite a bit over these 10 episodes, and it does feel like not much happens in the downtime. Bonds are made and broken, but there is this creeping sensation at the end of every episode. As time passes, there will eventually be a time where Viserys can no longer sit on the throne, and as Rhaenyra gets older, that likelihood of her taking over just increases more and more over time. The other main character that I was speaking about earlier is Alicent Hightower, Rhaenyra's childhood best friend. The two begin as friends, though over the course of the show a wedge is thrown between them, and their relationship is put to the test. The importance of her character does involve a few spoilers, so click off now if you haven't finished the entire season, as I'll be spoiling the ending as well. There are a large number of characters in this show, which isn't a surprise considering it's a Game of Thrones show. All of the characters in this show seem to be connected to the king, but as we realise roughly around episode 8, the theme and all of the characters in general are in a way related to the king's family, and are a part of or a branch of that family. Especially the two main characters, Rhaenyra being the eldest daughter and Alicent being the queen. Rhaenyra and Alicent were initially pinned against one another when Alicent's father, the Hand of the King, forced her into a position which inevitably had her marrying the king and becoming queen. Alicent quickly became emotionless as she served her duties. As we can see, when she's around people, she tries to smile and stay happy, but when she's alone at night or sleeping with the king, there's zero emotion on her face. She does love the king though, at least in the end she does. I think her perception of love is skewed after being moved around as a pawn for so long and committing her duties without a second thought. It can even be seen with her children, as she clearly had no control in the way they were raised. Her kind attributes didn't rub off on her kids, and they turned out to be far worse than her. Rhaenyra, on the other hand, resented Alicent the moment she had married her father. She was the first person to cut ties in that relationship, though it was a crazy position to be in. Rhaenyra and Alicent both realized that they must follow their duties, though Rhaenyra struggled to do it at first. She was put in a stressful position, as she had to follow her duties whilst the people of the realm silently resented her for being named heir. The two eventually become completely separated as they care for their own families. And all the while, the king just wants his house to be in order. I do believe that Alicent's character ties in well with Rhaenyra's, especially within the final 2 episodes. The two of them are both reacting to the death of the king, and funnily enough, both of them are the most level-headed people in the room, whilst swelling up with far more emotions than the others. Neither of them want to hurt each other as they care deeply for one another, but due to an unfortunate circumstance, war is inevitably sparked. A lot of people weren't a fan of this mistake that Aemond made, and that it was just a cheap way to put everything in motion, but if you really think about it, it makes a lot of sense. At the start of the series, Viserys says that men do not control dragons, and that it's the other way around. That foreshadowing paid off at the end of the season, as both Aemond and Luke's dragons acted on their own primal instincts. Luke's was startled from the rain, as well as a larger beast chasing him. He was so startled to the point that he attacked as he fled, probably because the beast couldn't comprehend that he could have just snuck away. Aemond's dragon wasn't having it, to put it simply. People play games, beasts don't. That's why Aemond couldn't stop his dragon, as he had allowed the dragon to toy with Luke for too long. He wasn't just going to leave after that. The benefit of the whole war sparking from a misunderstanding is that you can root for both Rhaenyra and Alicent. They're both incredibly similar. The insecurities led them to make mistakes that they genuinely regret, such as Alicent accidentally allowing for Rhaenyra's baby daddy to be killed off. Rhaenyra also regrets being the first person to cut ties in that relationship, even though they both know it's a wound that can't easily be mended. All in all, these characters have some incredibly realistic flaws and make mistakes that any normal person would do if they were to have that amount of pressure going on, basically 24/7. And so props to House of the Dragon for making some great female characters. And of course, how do you write a female character correctly? You just write them as a normal character, because gender doesn't matter, bro. Anyway, that's it. Bye.